Go.
What's going on, guys? It's Clark Taylor from Wrestling Republic with a few of my esteemed colleagues, and we're here with your newest addition to the lineup. We have podcast wise on YouTube, sold separately. This is going to be a collectible show, action figures. We're going to talk all kinds of wrestling merchandise and whatnot, and it's going to be outstanding. Hope you guys enjoy it. This is our first episode. I got Anthony Ricciardi. He's my number one co-host, my guy, but he's no Mike 2. Can't possibly put him over enough. The man in the Phillies hat. I'm gonna let you take over for a second here. Introduce yourself to the audience, and then we'll get into some recent figure collectibles stuff, and we'll get it going. And then we'll talk about Kobe, our producer, later too. But I had to sneak him in at the last second. But Anthony, introduce yourself real quick. Then we'll talk about what's going on.
Hey everybody, you may know me from the opinion pieces that I write for the site. Some of you may love me, some of you may hate me for the different pieces that I've written over the years.
How could you hate Anthony?
So, especially the MJF stuff. Yeah, looking forward. This has been a long time coming that we've been planning on doing this, and different things kind of got in the way. But we're finally ready to do the first episode.
Hello, this is the producer Kobe Onzowski. Before Mr. Clark Taylor introduces me as the producer on the actual podcast, there's something that I actually want to say. Just like Anthony had mentioned about the show taking a while for us to actually do. I mean, as you can see, this is very much in me in the future, different hair, different shirt. Life happened, and it caused the podcast to be majorly delayed. And this is my opportunity to say that this is my fault. Broken promises about times this could have been done and edited were made. And all I can say is I'm sorry, because 2022 brought emotional wounds to the people who are involved in this podcast. This podcast, the debut episode was supposed to be our way of creating something in tribute to a number of people. And delaying a tribute is something I never personally wanted to do. So this tribute deserves the ability to show the gratitude it was originally intended to. And like I said, this is my opportunity to say I'm sorry. And back to one of the hosts, Clark Taylor.
Absolutely. And so last but certainly not least, we got super producer Kobe Galanzowski, the man, the myth, the legend. This is what, third, fourth show this week, producing this week, Kobe?
It would be 3 because we did 2 daily broadcasts.
Yeah, we got
since Christmas Eve,
and also had an up reviewing. So he's the hardest working man in showbiz as far as I'm concerned. No doubt. First topic of the night, though, Anthony. In all seriousness, how are you feeling about the Elite Wave 3?
It's the figures we're going to be covering. There are people that have had multiple figures. So it's not anything that's, as far as Ronda, Bobby, Lashley, and Cena, they've had a number of figures over the years. But the Ronda, it's a really nice looking Ronda. Honestly, anytime you're able to pay tribute to Piper with the Piper gear, I got to be honest, I love that stuff because I'm a big fan of Piper. So, and I think it's a phenomenal likeness of her. I really do. Angry Ronda's, it's a great likeness. I mean, right now on TV wise, not exactly compelling, but figure wise, it's a great figure, I think.
And so I was going to say, not to even jump your ship there, but I think Ronda was, and I'm glad you pointed her out. I think it's the standout of the bunch on that release. And I think historically, when we see the top picks at the end of the year, it does a little bit feel like, we got Goldberg the year of WrestleMania 36. So that would have been 2019 at the end of the year. It did seem like a bundle of figures that didn't sell. I can't imagine this one of this bunch being one of those by comparison. Not that the Lashley or Cena figures were bad per se. Mm-hmm. I do think though that this one was a standout, and I was impressed by, they gave this the top picks, not old school, it's the same title, but they gave us the classic white Raw Women's Championship. It's not one she's carried in a while, but to get it this year, that would be where I was like, okay, that coupled with, as you added about the callback to Roddy Piper. Those coupled, I think this is clearly the standout of those three in that series. Is it a must buy? Maybe not. I don't know. But if you're a huge Rousey fan, I do actually believe that this is the best figure that's been released of her yet.
Yeah, I think if you're looking for a Ronda figure, I don't think you can go wrong with this one. If you don't have any other ones, I think this is the one. I mean, I know they have the one with the classic Piper black leather jacket. That may be more desirable, but if you're just looking for a Ronda that's a really nice Ronda, this is probably the one.
And I couldn't agree more, especially to me, the kicker is they really got the mean mug face on this one. And
yeah,
there's no, they
absolutely.
nailed the expression when she walks out, that to me is what makes Ronda Rousey is that walk, even dating back to her UFC days.
Yes.
That facial, that look at the way in there, and this face model is brilliant, I think. And that's one of the things. This is a figure that appeals not only to wrestling fans but UFC fans, because Absolutely. This is probably the best looking likeness of any Ronda figure. I would 100% agree. And they've even released, she's one of the highest selling of the UFC figures, so that have been produced. And this is a face model that has not been replicated in any other Ronda figure that I've seen personally. Like I was blown. She's clearly the standout, and not that we're not going to talk about Cena or Lashley. They did exist as well, but I thought of these three, they're clearly this is the one to focus on because it does look the best for sure.
And the funny part is Ronda did get a very early Ultimate figure. I don't know if she was in Series 1. She was in the very beginning of an
Ultimate
Ultimate
forgot
figure.
about that, by the way. That's a great call, Anthony. I completely forgot she got an Ultimate figure for sure.
I think she might have been in the first series, or if she wasn't, she was close to. I mean, she was within the first couple, I think.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure that came with a trench coat, if I'm not mistaken. Or
2019.
2019. Yes.
Yeah.
It was released in 19.
So
2019, and it's a vest. Or no, it's
a leather jacket.
It's a vest, but it has like the arms are detachable as covered.
Okay, so that's interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't think of that. Because she did also wear the vest for the entrance too. Remember, she did cut the sleeves off.
Yeah.
Even at that time, I wonder if that was like an oversight, because in hindsight, you make that figure with the leather jacket as a separate piece, might have been the move.
Personally, I prefer the cloth good jackets. Personally,
same.
But I know not all collectors do.
Right.
But for me, if I'm displaying it, I think it adds a richness to it. If you're just displaying it, if you're playing with it, it's a different story. But
I think generally speaking, playing with it, jackets are a hassle. But I know that as a kid that played with action figures as a kid a ton. Nothing worse than a cloth. I lost some on some cool Rock figures, some cool cloth accessories back in the day that I'm still a little bitter at my 12-year-old self for. That's a tough L to take. It's not $500, but I had the $500 shirt. It's just gone.
That was a great figure too.
It's just gone.
Yeah.
So moving along, unless you got more on that particular wave.
That's the Ultimate Ronda.
That's the Ultimate figure. Yes, absolutely. That's it right there.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, and look at the face mock. By comparison, you're kidding me, man.
Yeah, I think
that one's better than the one on the second picture. But I mean, the one on the current figure is that's
the superior one. I think the new one is the superior one.
Yeah, for sure. And even the arms is so interesting though, Kobe. I'm glad you pointed that out. That is a very, but yeah, that facial right there, that's
That's money. That's on point completely.
Yeah. And so if we're going to pivot from here, we're going into the, we're looking at Phoenix and Taya and Penta and Hoovy, and we're looking at the Lucha series. And I didn't personally overinvest in those ones.
I mean, it's a decent looking Bobby.
That Bobby is good, by the way. Not to go backwards at all.
Yeah.
But like I'm glad you showed the images, Kobe. That is a good looking Bobby Lashley.
I mean, it's a nice Bobby Lashley. I don't,
coming with the title. I don't know about the facial expression. On the it does look a bit generic.
It's kind of funny with these toy companies where there'll be like a head sculpt, like a Ronda, that's spot on perfect.
Yep.
And then you look at something like, a little off topic, but like Jazzware's MJFs. They've never looked right.
Never.
Like it's kind of weird.
There's the one with the red gear we agreed on that is the closest.
And that's the first one they made. That was the closest one. Now, Cena, I mean, there's been so many Cenas.
Many Cenas.
I think the one with the hat looks close to him. The other one, I don't know why it looks a little off to me. Now, his ultimates, I thought his ultimates were phenomenal, both of them. I thought those were the best versions of Cena.
I would agree. I've got one like sitting a little bit close to me or whatever that I in particular went for, the Chain Gang Army one that came with the spinner belt. I thought that was my favorite of the ultimates. This one is similar enough. I like that it's a unique t-shirt. It's a figure that they haven't released. But he's got so many. It's a little bit like Rey Mysterio. It's like it's just not like, not that it's not great. It's just not special to me because you get so much Cena. You get so much as far as figures, and to his credit, right? Khaki shorts, black shorts, jean shorts, it's knee pads, shoes, all of that, changing the shirt color, changing the hat color. That's going to garner making new figures. But I think the amount of John Cena figures we get is more of a reflection of that than I would say necessarily like the demand for them.
I gotta say, I'm a little surprised, and I could be wrong on this. I don't think they've ever produced a Cena with cloth jeans, like the jorts. I don't think they ever did.
That's a great point, because they even have a Stone Cold with cloth jorts.
Yeah, that's right.
They do. I have that Stone Cold myself.
Did Jax make that, or was that made by Mattel?
I believe that was the last wave of the Jax figures.
Yeah. Because Jax did that even with the Hardys. They were wearing jeans.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's kind of a missed opportunity. They've never done full cloth goods.
They've never done
I kind of think that's the only thing different they could possibly do with a Cena at this point.
Well, I think one thing, this is weird. I just came up with this, and I don't think I'm some kind of wizard or whatever, but could you imagine an Ultimate Edition that has every color of shirt and hat combo combined as the accessories?
You know how big that is, that packaging would have
I'm sure it'd be big. Not everyone, but maybe give you five classics.
They could.
You go orange, green, red, right? Like he's had them all. And the hats.
He's had every color of the rainbow, or as The Rock called them,
Fruity Pebbles. If you're going to do another Ultimate Edition, exactly. If you're going to do another Ultimate Edition, that's, I think, the one you do is.
Honestly, I think if you do an Ultimate, I think you do Dr. Thugonomics.
Well, in that, though, similar to, didn't they just release the Chain Gang Army one? Didn't release, isn't it in either the Elite 100 wave or the Elite 101 wave? I do believe there is a with the chain.
Oh, it's in there? Okay.
As well as with the spinner belt again, which I find ironic considering this one was there, or maybe it is it this figure? No, because it's top
no, this is Elite Top Picks Wave 3.
Yeah, that's top picks.
The only reason I didn't include Elite 100 is because it's on pre-order stuff.
Well, yeah, it's on pre-order.
So it's something
not
that
released yet, but I do believe that there is actually, Anthony, only because you brought it up, that there is a Chain Gang Army Cena in that wave.
Okay, gotcha.
The only other one that I could think of would be, I mean, didn't they also just come out with a Ruthless Aggression Cena? That one's a classic, and that one's fun to me. I do dig the in tights, not in jeans, right? Like
Oh,
the one figure you can get. Yeah.
The original him
Yeah.
slapping.
No, yeah. Slapping Kurt Ruthless.
Ruthless aggression.
Cena.
Yeah.
Yes.
The debut.
Ruthless aggression.
Yeah, the debut Cena. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that one I do believe they actually did release a figure, and I wish I knew exactly.
I think you're
which
right.
series
I
it
don't
was.
remember.
But I did think that was a nice, not gap filler, but it was a nice like addition to because we've gotten so many Cena figures for so long. It was a nice addition to the bundle, right? If that makes sense.
That would actually be interesting to look up to see how many Cena figures have been made.
Oh, it's got to be up there with it's him, Rey Mysterio, or Jeff Hardy in my lifetime. I've never seen.
I think it's between him and Ray. I think Ray might have the all-time record, but I don't know, because Ray, you could also add in. He had like one WCW figure in there, maybe two.
Yeah. No. Well, actually, I have a Filthy Animals Ray figure, so I think he had more than we would realize. I have a maskless Ray figure.
Oh, that's right. He had
childhood.
A one.
Yeah, I had one of those.
His first was the one that came with the giant, if I remember correctly, from WCW. I think
exactly. It was a 2-pack.
Yes.
And it had the lever on giant, so you could chokeslam Ray.
Yeah. I had that giant figure, the one that came with Kevin Nash. It was the same figure, except he was wearing the neck brace.
That's exactly right. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. 100%. Okay. So, not to keep it moving, but we've got enough figures to cover.
Yes.
Let's go on to the next. Let's go on to the Lucha series. Let's talk about that. I didn't invest in them personally. Like,
I think we got Elite 99 to do, because
all right, let's do it.
You want to do 99?
Let's do
Elite
99.
and then we'll come back.
Yeah. Okay. So Elite 99, you got Seth,
which
you got.
I mean, that is a phenomenal Seth, and cloth goods jacket.
The jacket is outstanding.
I'm not crazy about the tongue sticking out. I don't particularly care for that head scan on it, but I like the look of it. They got the little chest hair thing going on.
The stomach hair is the one that got me.
The
belly button down. that one.
I noticed that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. How could you miss that? Like, come on.
I mean,
we're all adults here. Or some of us aren't, or whatever. But even then, how could you miss it's just
I
belly
think
button hair.
Listen, in all fairness, no chest hair on a wrestling figure is going to compare to, and I think they only did it with Sean. They may have did somebody else. And I've talked to you about this off air, Clark.
Oh my gosh.
There's a Shawn Michaels figure that has glued on chest hair. I think they only did it. I think it was like a Ruthless Aggression line or whatever. I forget what the line is, but it's a Shawn Michaels and it has chest hair.
Not the look.
I mean, I'm sure our phenomenal producer can find it.
Yeah, the look that you'd be hoping for.
But I mean, I think they only did it with Sean. I don't know if they did it with anybody else, but I know the Sean one exists. But I think it's a phenomenal Seth, except the head sculpt. I don't think the head sculpt's on par.
Yeah, and especially after the ponytailed one they did in the Mysterio Halloween Havoc figure, which I thought was one of the best Seth head sculpts.
It's a phenomenal Seth.
And that's recent enough that I was like, it's odd to me that they couldn't nail. I'm like, if you could just put the head and change the hair. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, but at the same time, I guess it's probably more complicated than that.
I wouldn't be surprised if we get an Elite or an Ultimate Seth from Clash at the Castle, his Elton John and Rocket Man inspired gear.
Yes. Yeah, I think that'd be outstanding.
I think that is you. I kind of think you have to make that figure.
And there was, and I hate to be like that. I'm not trying to even totally change, but there was another Seth that's not wasn't a top picks, but there's another Seth that they recently released that I was looking at Ringside Collectibles, and I was looking at it and I was like, this is really generic gear, and I couldn't even finger point where he wore it.
Okay.
And it's just funny to me because I do think that's part of the brilliance of Seth Rollins with what he's been doing, changing gear, more action, right?
You get more action figures. I
Jeff
think
Hardy, more action, more merch, more action figures, more all of that.
Didn't Jericho say that before? Like,
yes.
You realize the more gear you have, the more chances you're going to have of getting figures.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and you look at it's not fact or whatever, but off the top of my head, it's Mysterio, Cena, Hardy.
Taker
up there too.
Taker's had a ton of figures.
I would say, I would even, not to even start an argument, but I would actually argue that Taker's figures come more from being so over, even as subtly as he changed his gear in relation to those other
30 years. I mean, it's
right. I think he was so over that the demand was almost different.
I go by, there's a quote that DDP made on the Undertaker This Is My Ride DVD. I want to say it came out in 01, 02, whatever it was. Yep. And I always go back to this. He says, if you took a picture of the Undertaker every day for like 30 days, little by little, you would notice a slight change. And he always stayed above the curve to change his look subtly to remain fresh. And that holds true to him having so many figures over the years. He was never a peg warmer like that. He's never.
Oh, no, never.
He's never. Taker figures will always sell.
He was literally the furthest thing in the world from being like a peg warmer or like a non-seller or the one that you would. Yeah, no.
I mean, for me, he was the ultimate figure when they made the Ultimate. Was the one I was most looking forward to.
Absolutely.
Because that was the Taker from when I first became a fan.
Well, and also to be clear, by the way, too, that Taker was so good, and they could make 4 more. Your point, right? Obviously, they have, but you know what I mean? They, to your point, the brilliance of Taker was you can do Ultimate Edition 15 ways.
And the thing is, with stuff like the Network and Peacock, there are new fans every day discovering older versions of Taker that almost like Disney movies, you could re-release them and it's like a whole new audience. Right. I think Kevin Nash said it that he said it more than once. Like, he gets fans that are like 8 years old talking to him about the NWO. They weren't even alive when the NWO was a thing, but because of things like the Network, there's new fans that get introduced to that. And I feel it's the same way with Taker stuff or anybody that's been around for a while.
Well, and even the re-release of the new Legends wave.
Yes.
I think is a reflection to your point of exactly that, right? That's why that Rikishi figure is iconic. I had it as a kid.
Oh, I mean, I remember
had to re-up.
No
problem.
I remember the Rikishi figure. It had like the bumps all over.
It's all time. It's all time.
Which is, I remember as a kid going, "This is tremendous."
Oh, it's amazing.
As a kid,
great figure.
Yes. All right. So next up.
Okay. So, we got the Riddle. I do dig Riddle. Okay. I like the scooter, and I don't know. I haven't seen enough Riddle figures, but I like the scooter, the flip-flops, the amount of accessories, cloth t-shirt. I'll take it all day. That one I'm all good with. I've got no issue. I'm
not sure about the face scan.
I agree with you on that.
I don't think the face scan, and it's weird. I don't think the hats always look weird on the figures.
When it's also interesting, you look in the left picture, and I haven't actually got my hands on this one.
Yes.
But it looks like he's moving. His hair looks like it's moving, and I think that actually hurts the head scan. The awkward grin, I think, plays, and I love, of course, the double. But on the hands, but I think what throws me is it's actually the hair more than anything. And I'd be interested to see the figure with the hat removed.
Well, here's the other thing. That's not an official shirt, right? That's supposed to be the 420 one that they're not allowed to produce.
Yeah, they're not putting that on a toy.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
it's a toned down version of that shirt.
It's a placeholder. Yeah.
That is. I didn't even notice that myself.
I'm a little surprised they never released that because that seems like a shirt that they would. But yeah.
Well, I mean, they sell the shirt flies off the shelf, but I get
Yeah.
why that isn't on the figure.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
You can't put that in Target.
No,
Well,
the shirt's on the shop.
Oh, okay.
No, the shirt is, but the shirt isn't on the figure.
No, the Hey Randy shirt that he's wearing on the figure.
Oh, it is that exact shirt. Oh, that's interesting.
I don't remember ever seeing that. I mean,
I thought it was
completely forgetting that, but
no,
I don't remember.
It's there.
I thought it was like a purple and green version, like you said, of the 420 shirt. That's funny, Kobe. Great call, by the way. Good spot.
I thought it was like, and Clark, you'll remember this, the Jeff Jarrett figures, the WWE released or WWF released in the late 90s. You know, his catchphrase was "Don't piss me off." But they didn't put that on a figure. It literally said "Don't tick me off," like on the shirt or the guitar.
No, I know exactly. It said it on the guitar, I believe.
Yes,
I think I had that one. I think I actually booked a pretty sweet hardcore match around my old school ring.
But you
damaged that guitar.
But that's the stuff they would do. They would slightly change it because kids would get offended by it.
Yeah, no, of course, and that makes sense when you're selling action figures. That's kind of it's the nature of the beast.
No, absolutely,
right? It's
yes,
like for other collectibles and merchandise, there's a different. But given the audience, that's kind of what you have to do, and I'll never like hold that against for figure stuff.
I think the collectors looking at it, they have a problem with it because it lacks authenticity.
Yeah,
to it. But again, this is really technically targeted towards kids, although 25% of the marketplace apparently is adult collectors.
Yeah, and this year was like the biggest spike ever, I guess, in adult buying toys too.
Yes.
Nice timing on your action figure show, guys.
Yes.
Shout out the audience. Keep buying them, guys. We need you. Right? I mean,
buy.
Yeah. Keep buying figures, but yeah, exactly. I think we're on the same page on that, right? I'll never be offended by you don't want to get a toy.
I do like the fact with the scooter they went with the yellow wheels. They could have went cheap and made it all black. It's a nice.
I didn't even notice that. By the way,
it's a nice little. I noticed it now in the image.
Yeah.
But yeah. So all right. So who we got next?
Dallas up, Kobe.
Queen Zelina. Now, I
was gonna say one of my favorite figures in the whole series, and I forgot that she was actually in this series. It's really funny because I in my mind had been ready to like put this figure over.
Yeah,
it is one of the best women's figures I've ever seen. The crown, the face scan's amazing, and the scepter is a no-brainer, but
yes.
My favorite and the most underrated part is the extra set of hands with the scepter pinching fingers.
Yes.
At the top.
Totally.
And it is so good. This is a great, and Zelina deserves it too. I actually think she's awesome. Like,
yes.
Not actually like that sounded like a half compliment. I think Zelina Vega is one of the most underrated women's performers in the whole industry. It's not even close. I think she's outstanding almost all the time that she's on TV. And so I was stoked to see that this figure was this good. And I think she deserved the run as Queen Zelina in the first place. And then this figure is just freaking awesome. It's cool as could be.
It wouldn't have been right not to release this figure because Xavier Woods got his King Woods figure.
Absolutely.
So you had to make this figure. And I think they didn't just put it out for the sake of putting it out. You could tell effort was made with this. So I think it did her justice. Now, whether or not it sells, I don't know. Because I think that's kind of one of those tough things. Women's figures sometimes don't. It's a shame. I think one of the lines, Judith Hogue, who played April O'Neil in the original Ninja Turtles movie. She had she recently just got her very first April O'Neil action figure, and she asked for years, why don't you make the April? And she was told by toy makers at the time, women figures don't sell. Now, I think some of that has changed, but I think that's always in the toy maker's back mind of going, well, do we release a figure that's not going to sell or don't sell that well? Do we release another Cena, for example?
Right.
And it's a shame because people like Zelina deserve to be represented the same way the guys are.
100%.
So, even if you released it in a smaller quantity to meet your whatever, and if it sells out, then you release more. I get you're covering your bases. It's a business. I get it. But it's the right move to release this figure.
Yeah. I think it's as good as it's one of the best women's figures of the whole year, I think, too.
Yes.
Because it's not only the crowning moment, but it's spot on. They got the gear right. They didn't give her the gear that she had to wear in Saudi Arabia. They gave her the gear she wore as queen being crowned, right?
Yeah.
It is Zelina Vega in her whole it's really well done.
It's an authentic Zelina.
It is. It's perfect.
Now,
And it's one of my favorite figures of this whole series. Maybe my favorite, actually. Maybe Brock. Brock, I know, is the Brock figure.
He's had a lot of figures too over the years.
It's pretty amazing, though, because I know what we're about to see on Brock. I did forget about that.
Yeah.
The Brock figure is all time, but this is one of my favorite, and not just like as women's as a qualifier, but as we touched on, like, this is something it's helpful too because it's such a good looking figure and she's so cool too. I'm hoping this is one that does fly off the shelf compared to others in the category for sure. That's the best way I could sum that up.
Clark, one thing that you said, and it's kind of an interesting topic when you mentioned about the Saudi gear. I don't think they've ever released a female figure with the Saudi gear.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it would be valuable.
No, I'm just saying it's kind of
if I had to take a guess, they did. If I had to take a guess, I don't think they did.
No, I don't think so. I don't think they did either. But it's kind of interesting that Clark mentioned.
It would be an interesting. It would be interesting how that would work globally in general too. If you were to do like, especially, there's choices.
I think you do a 2-pack.
Yeah.
I almost think you could do
the Bianca one.
The first women's match in Saudi if you did it too. I'm not saying you definitely would do it, but I could see if they were going to do it, that may be an interesting one to try.
I thought where Bianca, I believe it was the all purple, right? The long sleeve gear that she wore. I think that's the one to do.
Yeah.
If you were gonna do one, I would do the Bianca because she didn't have to wear the t-shirt. You can't really do. Not you can't, but I think it'd be a bad look to have the t-shirt outfit where they I men's t-shirt. Like I thought that was ridiculous in the first place, and like I don't necessarily need a figure with like a men's t-shirt to put over the woman figure. I'm out on that one. I do think the all purple slick gear that Bianca Belair wore, that'd be amazing. I think that'd be
even if you go this year's crown jewel. You could go with a damage control pack.
Yeah, that would be great as well.
They were very cool 3-pack. Yeah,
they were very, very cool gear. That's a great point, Kobe. Mm-hmm. I totally agree. Yeah, no, but I also think that's just those are tough waters to navigate there.
No, I think it's difficult.
But so okay, let's go to the next in the series, Kobe.
We're gonna save the best for last out of this pack.
Oh yeah, you switched the order. You're the man. Okay.
No, it's always been this way. I can go.
It is okay. Good. Okay, we got Bug.
Okay, we got Bug. Personally, I mean, it's a great looking figure. I wouldn't buy it. I was not super into Boogeyman. I think the head with the worms is a very nice touch because I don't know if that's been done previously. But I think it's a cool looking figure, but I wouldn't buy it personally.
So, I gotta admit, I'm a Boogie fan.
Okay.
I actually really like this figure. If you've seen the Chase version with the red paint, that he only wrestled in once, right there.
We had this conversation.
Not a fan.
We found the photo. Yeah.
Not a fan. While it did exist, not a fan of that figure. That's just not the. But yeah, remember. But
that's a completionist. That's a completionist buys that.
If
Yeah.
you're looking for a boogie figure, I do think this one's real good with the, like you said, the worm mouth, but the
Yes.
scepter I think is really solid. And the clock, I've not seen them give him that good of a clock. That is a perfectly huge, that's the break on his head clock that he used to have. And so I always loved the concept of the boogeyman, not necessarily because I'm a horror fan. I'm not.
Yes.
The reason I like the boogeyman is because of the backstory. Ironically, I
Yeah.
loved that he got asked off of Tough Enough for being too old, but then they were still like, actually, you're good enough to be a.
We like you enough. Yeah.
And then they just put him on TV before everybody that was on that season of Tough Enough. I think it's awesome. And so this figure I do really like, but at the same time, I also have to totally admit, Anthony, before you go here.
Yeah.
I haven't bought it either.
The only thing I think they could have added with this, I would have loved something to hook onto the staff to make it look like a smoke effect. I think that would be kind of cool. And I think for the clock, I would like to see, and I don't know what that is in the corner. Is that like supposed to be a
I was gonna say that's
is
what
that the smash?
Like, I don't know what is beside the or the
I can answer that. No, I believe that is actually it's replaceable for the clock, so that the clock shattered.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's smashed glass. That's what it's supposed to be.
That's what that is in the corner on the right.
That is phenomenal.
Yeah, no, I think that's the best part of the whole figure is the clock features that are perfect.
Yeah.
And it comes with that on both this one and the chase.
Yeah,
I just think the paint is better
just
on the original.
on the website. Yeah, it's like shattered glass.
Yeah. If you're buying a boogie, for me, in my opinion, you get this over the chase. Completely agree with you, Clark. I wouldn't want the chase.
Yeah, it sucks because I love the idea of chase figures, the exclusivity, right, Anthony? But this is one in particular where I'm like, there's a Rick Boogs figure that came out earlier this year that we probably will never talk about on the podcast, but I have to bring it up right now because the Rick Boogs and the Gene stuff is better than the Freddie Mercury Rick Boogs in the red gear by 10 miles. And that's fine or whatever, but it's funny when that happens where the chase gear isn't quite as good as the original gear.
I mean, as a collector, chases drive me nuts because 9 times out of 10, you end up paying a premium to get the chase figure. Yeah. But I think it's more frustrating when you make a chase and there's no real effort. Like, it's just, we changed the gear slightly. Like, I like...
It's different colored pants.
Even though we don't particularly like the boogie chase, it's different enough where I'd be like, okay, at least it's different. Yeah. Because we've seen plenty of them where they slightly changed the color of the tights. And you're like, really? Like, what effort was given? At least this is a major difference, I think, for the face paint. But yeah.
I do agree with you there, but I will also say to your same point, right? It's the same accessories. It's just the one-off red face paint. So if you were at that show or you loved that boogie, then it's a great figure. I'll give them that.
You're a diehard boogie fan. You want to have all the figures, or you're a completionist. Or the people
I do think it was a couple times, not just one time. I do think it was more than one show that he did wear.
I don't remember him in that gear.
Face paint that he did.
I don't remember that.
And I'll say this again because this came up in our original conversation. As I said it, I know it exists because of the Meyer Supercard card.
Yes.
I played the game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, yeah.
The only other thing I would say about the boogie figure is I would love on a boogie figure, like just better graphics on the back of the packaging on the I'm coming to get you, make it more horror-ish. That I would, because I do love the image there, but like almost the way they've like kind of dripped stuff on those images with other characters similar, where they've gone against the grain.
Yeah,
just to push the difference on what Boogeyman was as a performer, like right. I think that would have been a cool touch to add to what they did with it. And again, I do like this figure. The chase one disappointed, but I also don't really remember that boogeyman other than I know he existed, but I just didn't see him as often as this is the boogeyman I remember.
I think the one last comment that I have about Boogie figures,
Yeah,
I think it's kind of sad and ironic that I think Boogie's had more figures than some people have had any over the years.
Very good point. It's a very good point.
It's a shame because there are people, and we'll eventually talk about other ones in other lines, that have never had a figure before. Yet Boogie's had multiple
Deserving.
figures
Yeah.
well past his in-ring career for the most part. In the spotlight WWE.
Yeah, and that's no knock on Boogie.
No, absolutely not. No.
I'm a Boogie fan myself. So
no, I'm not knocking him.
Kidding.
I'm
kidding.
He's had a lot of figures.
Yeah, he's gotten his fair share.
Yes,
for sure. And it interestingly got the chase or whatever. Okay, so moving along.
Farmer Brock.
And we've got another chase coming after too, by the way. I don't want to spoil there, but this is where when we're getting into earlier, the Zelina figure.
Yes.
This is the only one I think in this line that truly can compete.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's the chase that's the winner.
I think one of the biggest shocks in wrestling was the huge dramatic difference between the killer beast Brock Lesnar and this completely different and awesome Farmer Brock that was entertaining. Like no one, I don't think anyone saw this version of Brock becoming a thing. And the fact you're immortalizing it in multiple figures is tremendous. I think the only other thing you would have to do, and I know our producer will mark out for this, I almost think you need to release a wrestling ring that comes with the tractor and Brock. I think you have to.
Absolutely.
But this is, if we only get these two versions of Farmer and overalls Brock, this is a must.
I think they're both outstanding.
Yes.
This one is great. The one in the clearly denim overalls.
The chase.
It just tickles me. I don't know how or why. It's to me so much better.
Clark, let me ask.
Yeah.
This figure would look better if the overalls were in cloth.
See, I don't even know that it matters on this one. I really do dig the full overalls here.
Okay.
Because I think, oddly, if Brock's going to wear overalls at home, I mean, not on television, but not in a figure. It's just a fucking denim pair of like the basic.
Oh,
he's
no,
just
absolutely.
got overalls.
Yeah,
like he just went and bought them. Like, oh, this is my size, XL. Boom, flips them on and just does it. And that's why I was so tickled.
In the hell is Brock and XL?
When I saw this, yeah, double X, triple X, whatever it is. There's multiple X's, but you know what I mean. Triple X State of the Union. He's I think that's the old Ice Cube movie, by the way. But no, but
I got
nothing. I loved the denim overalls. It's Farmer Brock. It's perfect. The cowboy hat cracks me up, but I think that's what Brock wears. Is not that he doesn't wear the other overalls, but they almost look too fashiony to me. I think Brock just gets a pair of blue ones, and it's just that's what it is. That's what he wears.
I don't think Brock's going through the wardrobe department. I think that's home. I think that's home Brock. I don't think he's going out getting overalls like Ric Flair was getting robes.
Right.
I don't. Yeah. I could be wrong.
He doesn't have a costume designer on his overalls.
I don't think he's getting different clothes like Seth is every week. Like I don't think that's. I think that's out of Brock's closet. I could be wrong.
Well, and that's where I guess the only thing I was saying on the point I was kind of gonna even get to on the cloth thing is. It's not like Kurt Angle in the singlet. Like those straps aren't coming off. It's
No,
Brock.
it's true.
Brock and so that's why I was like, you know what? I'm actually comfortable with the
Yeah, you know
overalls
what?
the
You
way
might
they
be.
are.
You might be right on this
Yeah.
one. You're right.
It's
on
like
that.
it's not like the straps are coming down, right? Like you'd have to rip him
True,
off of his body. Like, that's Farmer Brock in all of his glory, right? And I was obsessed with this figure. I loved it. I ordered
No,
the Chase
it's an
version.
absolute. It's a great figure.
Yeah,
It really
it
is.
was, to me, it was my favorite of the bunch. That's not to knock Queen Zelina. I loved that figure as well, but I thought Chase Brock and Queen Zelina were the clear standouts of this bunch.
Yeah.
For me at least. And also you get, it's not even just that, it's top knot Brock too. You get the ponytail. It's classic. It's and the cowboy hat is great. Even the other figure is excellent, but now, okay, Kobe,
Okay.
yes, thank you.
Okay.
Because
So,
let's let Anthony talk about this one because we're both on the, I think, the same exact page on this one.
So for me, if I'm buying this figure, he's never Happy Corbin. It's Bum Corbin 100%.
It's spot
If
on.
I'm displaying this, it's Bum Corbin. That's the majority of the audience that's buying this figure. I don't think they're buying it for casino winning Happy Corbin. They are buying this for Bum Corbin. And I got to give it to Mattel. This was the right move to release this as two different options, from both Bum to Happy.
Well, it's one figure, and even look,
Right.
he has ketchup stains
On the cloth.
Well,
on
no,
the
but
cloth
like,
accessory.
yes.
Like that was clear
Amazing.
in his
I mean,
character that he was showing up and his stuff was stained. It was phenomenal.
The face, look, and even the pose, like he's asking for money. That is the Corbin that we saw.
It's one of my favorites, and even as like personally as like a fan of, you know, I follow all of his like smoking meat off television content and stuff.
Mhm.
And I'm a huge Corbin fan personally. I think he's awesome.
Yes.
And I really love like I'm a fellow foodie. The ketchup stain thing is even funnier. It's perfect.
It's a nice little touch.
Freaking
it's a little touch. Yeah, very
it's
nice.
so spot on. It is amazing. And then the hat on the Happy Corbin version, they did such a good job. It is so well done.
I kind of feel like this is one of those figures because, again, the Happy does look phenomenal. If you're only buying one, I think you're only displaying it as Bum.
I agree.
But this is one of those figures that I would understand if you bought two of, one to display as Happy and the other one as Bum.
And yeah,
and it's a brilliant move because you're only producing the figure once, and you might get at least 2 sales or possibly 4 at least 3 people that want to keep these things in package. Because I don't know, in the packaging, is he Happy or Bum?
I think the jacket is separate in the package.
So
no, the jacket's on, but with the Happy head. That's what it is. Sorry.
Right, that's a little weird, but okay.
But either way, I'm acceptable on that because of the space in the packaging.
Well, no, but
hard to package the jacket and the second head because think about this: you don't usually get a second head scan in a traditional Elite. That's right.
Well, here's the thing, though. I think if you're doing this in package, I think you're putting the Bum head on him.
Of course.
But like to me, I wouldn't have went Happy with Bum shirt. I would have went full Bum with the Happy head being the second one. That's what I mean.
I agree, but I also think that they thought they might sell more Happy heads, and for packaging purposes, there was not a place to put the jacket.
The hat? Not a place to put the hat? Yeah.
The hat or right? Like
yeah.
They were like, okay, we gotta just let's get it in the box.
Well, and plus aesthetically pleasing, I get the Happy heads more aesthetically pleasing. And the Bum head is for the 25% adult collector
that are gonna laugh their faces off.
Yes.
At the Bum head, yes.
Yeah,
the part that makes it funny.
Yes. So yeah. But yeah, I think that's the reason.
100%. I couldn't agree more on that. But this is one of my favorite figures in this whole
set.
It's outstanding.
Yes.
It is absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, this isn't warming any pegs.
No. Not for me, at least. I already ordered one myself. Whoops.
Yeah. Cope,
We hit the list. I was gonna say, you ready for sign off time?
Yeah.
So here's the deal. If you haven't by now and you stuck around this long and you haven't liked and subscribed yet, just like everybody else on YouTube, I'm going to tell you to do it. So if you haven't, not only that, if you could just text the link to all your friends and tell them to do it before they even watch it, that would be my ultimate. I would be most stoked about that. But in all seriousness, thanks for hanging with us. We'll be bringing more sold separately. We're going to be bringing tons of collectibles, not even just figures. We're going to be talking memorabilia and stuff for episode 1, the most important, the pilot, as they call it on television. And just wanted to say thank you to everybody that stuck around the entire time. And then not only that, there's a few other important things. Monster shout out Kobe Gonzowski for producing. Monster shout out Ben Allison for all he does for us at Wrestling Republic. Gotta shout out Ben A. And then, even more important than that, my boy Anthony Ricciardi. This has been in the docket for so long, and we've talked about it. And just stoked to be here. This is gonna be a show that's gonna be really fun. And it was today, of course, as usual. But this first episode is real important to both of us. And I wanted to monster shout out my own co-host before I toss it to him to really send us off and give us the whatever he'd like to say before we go. But I wanted to say thank you for everything Anthony does and the type of year you've had, obviously, Anthony. You can go into whatever you like.
I
wanted to give you all love for this. Stoked that we could do this. So, Anthony, I'm going to toss it to you, and then we can send us home whenever you'd like.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for watching. I know it's been a long episode. We weren't really hadn't any idea how long this thing was going to go. Like Clark said, like, click, subscribe, notification, hit the bell, all that stuff. I want to thank Kobe, phenomenal producer as always. Clark, you were the person I wanted to do this show with. It's been a passion project. For me, this was something I very much wanted to do. It's been a very rough year for me. This is obviously dedicated to very important people to me. And I just want to thank everybody. We're hoping to do more with this. Don't know how quickly we'll roll around with another episode, but this is something that we're definitely intending to do more of. So I want to thank everybody for watching.
And just for some moments,
for my co-host, by the way,
some
guys.
moments, just for some words. Yes, this is a long time in making. We are recording this because the Raw or the Christmas Raw is a clip show. So the next episode's coming, the next clip show. Kidding. Just in general, for more wrestling news, rumors, debates, and opinions, make sure to check out WrestlingRepublic.com along with Wrestling Republic on Instagram and on YouTube. Of course, you're seeing this on YouTube. And starting soon, we are going daily broadcasting and you'll see faces like mine, like Clark.
Tune into
like
the Republic
Anthony.
Daily Podcast. Anthony, me, Kobe, like he said.
Yeah.
You get the whole crew. We're locked in.
Yeah. So anyway, those are our contractually obligated last lines. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, guys.
See you guys.